Now it's the Rugby World Cup final this weekend, and Australia will be battling it out against the New Zealand All Blacks.
The All Blacks are very difficult to beat. Probably knew that. The first time England managed it was nearly 80 years ago, and they did it with a lot of help from a Russian prince who scored 2 remarkable tries. At the time, he was stationed at an RAF base in Suffolk.
Obolensky takes it from Gerrard, going like a racehorse. He sweeps round and touches down 10 yards from the post.
It was 1936, England versus the All Blacks. Prince Obolensky, a Russian exile of the revolution, made his international debut. Aged just 19, he scored one of the greatest ever tries.
He ran 3/4 of the length of the pitch, a diagonal run across the score in the opposite corner. He just out-sprinted everybody, and his style of running, his hair flowing behind, it's just such a dramatic and dashing try.
And that's why the so-called Flying Prince has pride of place in Ipswich. His statue captures that famous moment before he went on to become an RAF pilot.
The shape of the plinth is actually the same as a canopy door on a Hurricane, which are the kind of aeroplanes that Prince Obolensky used to fly.
But both his rugby and flying careers were cut short. Just 4 years after his famous victory at Twickenham, he was killed during the Second World War whilst flying out of Martlesham Heath.
It was only the second time he'd flown a Hurricane, and he came into land, probably overshot the runway and hit because in those days it was a grass runway. He hit a dip in the land, and I believe the aeroplane overturned. At least he was thrown out.
It's here in Ipswich Cemetery that Prince Obolensky is buried. He was only 24 when he died, but his character is summed up by a few key words on his gravestone. It reads, "His undaunted spirit and endearing qualities live forever in the hearts of all who knew him." Even today, Obolensky's try is still regarded as one of the best top 10 ever scored at Twickenham.
Do you think England would still be in the Rugby World Cup this year if he was on the team at the moment?
Difficult one to say, but let's just say it might be worth a try.
Nearly 80 years later, the Russian prince leaves a legacy that's still hard to follow. Felicity Simper, BBC Look East in Suffolk.